Hi, welcome to the end of our Exodus series, the story of us. I trust that you have been following along as we journeyed with the nation of Israel as they went through their journey or their process for transformation. You know, I was talking about Exodus the other day, and somebody in our church came up to me and said, "Did you know, Pastor Chris, that the book of Exodus does not end with them in the promised land? How can that be?" You know, if you were to actually read the final words in the book of Exodus, you will discover that actually the book of Exodus does not end with them making it into the promised land at all. In fact, I will put it to you that that's not even the purpose of the book of Exodus. The book of Exodus talks about how God was going to transform a nation that's under slavery, used to working and living in the ways of the world, transforming it into a place where He can dwell. That's why the book of Exodus ends with the 10 Commandments, the commandments being given, and the temple. And then you get this beautiful picture at the end of God dwelling in the tabernacle, dwelling with Israel once again. Our last session, session 5, is about this. It's called set apart. Set apart is a modern term for the word holy. You know, when you read in the Bible, it says, holy, holy, holy. It means set apart, set apart, set apart. God is so set apart from us. I think the Israelites didn't really have an understanding of how holy God was. They did not know God's standard. They did not know, they just thought, based on their own understanding, that, hey, we're pretty good, we're all right, we don't need to change that much. Sometimes that can be the story of us. That we can walk around thinking as Christians, hey, we're pretty all right. One of the biggest trappings of modern day Christianity is that today's modern church is looking more and more like the world. That we're just like everybody else, except that we have the sticker of the fish in our car, or we listen to Hillsong, and that's pretty much the only difference, because our divorce rate's the same, the way we treat strangers is the same, the way we treat poor is the same, the way we conduct ourselves in many ways is exactly the same. So God, in His journey that He's trying to take His nation, is very adamant to make sure that everybody knows God's ways different from our ways. And so in Exodus 20, leading all the way up to the end of it, you get the commandments about how we are to live rightly. How different is God's ways. You get this, the specifications of the temple. And if you look at the temple, it's like, oh, and this part has to be done this way, and then it's divided into another part, and it's divided into the holy part, and then divided into the holy part is the Holy of Holies, and nobody can go into that except for specific people. It goes out of its way to show you how, in a category all of its own, God is. Now it's interesting to note that Jesus, when He dies, He severs that gap. He breaks the curtain in the Holy of Holies. But you need to understand that even the Bible tells us the law and the Old Testament way is a shadow, is a representation of how different God is from us. I want to put it to you that God wants to transform you into someone who's different. Someone who, when you look back on your life, you'll say, that was not how I used to be. God's destination, God's plan for you is to transform you into something that is set apart, that is holy, and that is different. And if you will allow Him, He will, over the course of many years, over the course of your walk with Him, turn you into somebody who will reflect Him, who will be blessed to be a blessing, who will make an impact in the nations and in your community. So I hope that you would be along for that journey, and that even as this series ends, it would not be the end of the story of your life. God bless.